Santa Clara has no room for a soft read today. Nick Bosa just pointed to a detail that could fast-track Romello Height in year one. The Rams poured gasoline on the NFC West with Myles Garrett. The 49ers receiver room now has a heavy SEC and championship identity, and the Brandon Aiyuk saga may be reaching its coldest possible point. Hit the like button because this episode is about response, pride, and the pressure that comes with being a contender. Nick Bosa's praise for Romello Height is not some cute little OTA note. It is a survival signal for a defensive line that needs speed right now, not in 2028. When Bosa sees a rookie in early practices and calls him explosive and polished, this fanbase has to pay attention, because that kind of read coming from the best pass rusher on the roster carries weight. Bosa knows what empty technique looks like. He knows what a fast athlete looks like when he still cannot attack the angle. And he knows when somebody shows up with real tools to pressure the quarterback. The part I like about this story is that the 49ers are not trying to turn Romello Height into everything at once. They do not need that. He fell to the third round because he is a little older, a little undersized, and some teams looked at him like his ceiling might already be pretty close. But in Santa Clara, that same age can become an advantage. Polish, feel, mature movement. For a rookie expected to play early, that is not cosmetic. That is how you survive. His job needs to be simple and violent. Come in, win with the first step, force the tackle to open his hips, get to the quarterback, period. Do not overcomplicate it. Do not keep putting the kid in run defense situations just to satisfy some old idea of what a complete edge rusher is supposed to be. This roster already has heavier bodies for that. Cam Sample and Keon White provide depth in roles that are closer to Michael Williams. Bosa and Sam Okuayinonu are stronger with a hand in the dirt and better against the run. Height is the different one. He is the stand-up guy, the lighter guy, the fast guy, the one built to change the speed of the rush. And after Bryce Huff's retirement, that difference is not a luxury, it is a need. In 2025, after Huff had to defend the run more, some of that pass rush poison started to disappear. The 49ers cannot repeat that mistake with Height. If he gives them only two things in year one, explosion and enough polish to play early, the pick already starts making sense. Because contenders do not live only off big names. They live off that one specific rookie who walks onto the field on third down and flips a possession. The division just got punched in the mouth. The Rams went out and got Myles Garrett, sending Jared Verse, a 2027 first-round pick, and more draft capital to Cleveland, and that is not a normal offseason move. That is a rival saying, I want to push everybody else back in the NFC West. When a direct rival moves like that, the 49ers cannot answer with pretty speeches, corporate patience, and press conference smiles. San Francisco's window demands a response, or at the very least, it demands that this front office feel the weight of that pressure. Facing Myles Garrett twice a year changes the conversation. It changes protection. It changes the game plan. It changes Brock Purdy's margin for error. The Rams were already an opponent that did not need any gifts, and now they drop one of the most violent pass rushers in the league into the middle of the division race. You cannot pretend this is only a September problem. This is a roster-building problem, a courage problem, a question of how much the 49ers still want to operate like a franchise that is actually chasing a Super Bowl. That is why the Maxx Crosby conversation hits so hard. Grant Cohn brought up the idea. If the price lands somewhere around 2 first-round picks, maybe even less depending on the physical situation and the market, the 49ers should consider it. I will say it straight. If the season is alive, if this team is in the mix, if the defense is one swing away from becoming a monster, you cannot treat future picks like display trophies. Picks are tools. A title window does not wait for the finance department to finish its slideshow. Picture Crosby on one side, Nick Bosa on the other, Osa Odigizua driving through the middle. That is not empty fantasy. That is the kind of defensive front that forces offenses to choose their poison. And when an offense has to choose its poison against elite pass rushers, mistakes happen. Sacks happen. Third downs die. Playoff games get decided on one possession. Crosby's last season still showed real production. Pressure, sacks, a massive snap load, and impact against the run. He is not just a name, he is an engine. Cohn's criticism of the 49ers was harsh because the feeling is harsh too. The Rams made the move that changes the perception of the conference. San Francisco has cap space, picks, Bosa, and a contender foundation. So the question inside that building cannot be a comfortable one. Are they really going to sit there and watch Los Angeles take the lead on paper? Or are they going to treat the NFC West like a real fight? The ball flips to the other side, but the standard stays the same. The 49ers could not rebuild this receiver room like they were patching holes with duct tape. They lost Juwan Jennings, Sky Moore, and Kendrick Bourne. Brandon Aiyuk kept drifting farther away from this project. This group needed a new identity, not just talent, identity. And what John Lynch has put together has a very clear edge to it. Players from heavy conferences, players used to pressure, players who do not walk into big stages scared. Mike Evans raises the ceiling of that room immediately. A veteran with that size, coming from Texas A&M, with physical presence and a long track record of production, is not walking in as decoration. He is walking in to be a problem. Christian Kirk also comes from Texas A&M, brings experience, versatility, and can still help as a punt returner, which mattered after Sky Moore disappeared from the picture. Ricky Pearsall out of Florida needs to stay healthy, but the ability is there. Jordan Watkins came from Ole Miss. Dejon Stribling, the second-round pick, came from Ole Miss too. Demarcus Robinson went through Florida. That is not some tiny coincidence. That is a receiver room with SEC fingerprints all over it. I like that because the 49ers are not just looking for guys who look good in practice clips. They are looking for players who have already been hit on big Saturdays, who have already seen physical corners, hostile stadiums, fast defenses, and program pressure. Fans can debate whether this group becomes top 5 in the league, and that still depends on health, fit, and target volume. But the profile upgrade is obvious. San Francisco needed to move from a broken room, emotionally worn down and full of uncertainty, into a room with size, experience, explosiveness, and competitive DNA. The second layer is even more interesting. Players coming from winning programs. Philadelphia did that before its title run, stacking athletes who knew what it felt like to win national championships. The 49ers have started pulling pieces from Indiana, a program that exploded under Curt Cignetti and reached the top. C.J. West, Curtis Roark, Grayson Halton, Kalen Black, Mikhail Kamara. Not every name, of course, is going to become a star, but players like that usually understand practice, discipline, accountability, and standards. And I want this fan base in on that debate. Do you prefer this path, chasing players shaped by strong conferences and championship programs? Or do you want Lynch to be more aggressive, chasing established stars? For me, the message could not be simpler. If the 49ers want to get back to the top, the room cannot have passengers. It needs competitors. Then we get to the topic nobody in Santa Clara can keep sliding under the rug forever. Brandon Aiyuk. According to the read cited from Dan Graziano, the relationship between Aiyuk and the 49ers is broken enough that the franchise may have to let the player go before the season if it cannot find a trade. That is brutal. Not just because of his name, because of what he already meant here, because of the talent, because of the 4,305 career yards, because at one point, this looked like a long-term partnership with Brock Purdy. Professional football does not live off pretty memories. It survives on alignment, availability, contracts, trust, and the locker room. If the connection between player and franchise has collapsed that much, keeping Aiyuk just to avoid admitting the loss could become expensive stubbornness. And the market knows that too. If other teams can see that the 49ers may be forced to release the receiver, why give up a draft pick right now? Why take on tension, salary, physical risk, and trade cost when there is a chance to wait until he hits the open market? Washington shows up as the logical destination in a lot of conversations because of the Jaden Daniels connection. But logic is not a signed check. A team can like the player and still wait. It can respect the talent and still refuse to pay the price. It can see the name Brandon Aiyuk and still make a cold risk calculation. That is the part that frustrates 49ers fans. This franchise could end up getting nothing for a player who, at another point, looked like a central piece. But I am going to defend the shield before I defend nostalgia. If Aiyuk is no longer inside the project, cut the emotional weight. The room is changed. Mike Evans arrived. Christian Kirk arrived. Dejon Stribling was picked early. Pearsall still has to prove he can stay healthy, but he is in the plan. This offense cannot be held hostage by a saga that eats oxygen and freezes decisions. Kyle Shanahan needs receivers who are present on the field, in practice, in the call, in the route, in the run game dirty work, in the details. Would losing him with no return sting? Absolutely. But keeping a broken situation just to pretend there is still a bridge would be worse. Sometimes defending the 49ers means demanding the courage to end the cycle. I look at this whole package and see one thing. The 49ers no longer have the right to move slowly. Romelo Height needs to become a situational weapon. The Rams just turned up the heat in the division. The receiver room has a new competitive profile, and the Aiyuk situation needs an adult decision. I believe in this roster. But belief does not mean accepting passivity. It means demanding a big team response. If you feel the season calls for movement, pressure, and a championship mindset too, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and stay with me, because Santa Clara has entered a phase where every detail can change the NFC race.